show coming, big show.
Really big show. Really big show. There's just a few people that were doing that. Oh no.
So, we're looking for a wanted man. Has anybody seen a picture of this person? Hey.
There he is! Arrest him! Even like that wanted man, she come sit right up here. There you are. Where's your hat?
Where's your hat, Dad? Well, we're here to celebrate all of the wonderful years that Ken has given to our congregation and the continuing years that he will also give to us. This is not the end.
He's being excommunicated.
So here you're wanting a little R&R from the exit, and Ken is retiring from the exit, but not retiring. He loved every minute of his tenure there, and he is going to continue with the music, so this is not retirement. This is thank you. And this time I'm going to invite anyone who would like to speak about their knowledge of Ken and his work. Do so, and Ed goes first.
This may come as a surprise to you, but Ken Wolvington is mortal. Like the rest of us. But whenever his time comes, move over Jesus. Make space at the right hand of God for Ken Wolvington. Move over Jesus. Ken's monthly exit column, The Desk of God, is reality, not metaphor. Month after month, his written word gets our undivided attention and is more often than not life-changing. Move over, Jesus. Were it not for Ken Wolvington in his earliest years at Christ Church Presbyterian, CCP would have floundered before it was founded. And since its founding, Ken has been the central producer, director, and performer in all things. He has held every office and served multiple times on every committee at every level: local, presbytery, synod, and general assembly. Move over, Jesus. As a lay minister, Ken Wolvington has consistently preached with conviction and precision.
Yes, yes.
Move over, Jesus. Week after week, day after day, and on all occasions, Ken Wolvington's creative music for liturgy and every occasion rivals the heavenly choirs of angels.
Move over, amen.
Move over, Jesus. Move over, Jesus. You know, if the secretary gets word of that, I'm going to be stripped of my ordination and drummed out of the court.
Is there anyone else who would like to
Move
say
over,
a few words?
Jesus.
Following up on Sue Brooks' homily last Sunday, she talked about words, words, words. So what I attempted to do was to summarize Ken in 7 words with expansion. Thinking about this little exercise of mine and Ken for the last few weeks, I think it's remarkable to note that I've been a member since, I guess, mid-'80s, and that I've really known Ken mostly in his retirement. And so all of these things that have burned themselves into my being and presence, it's happened during retirement, a lot of it. Remarkable. So the top of my list was Savvy Senior, and you can go with that wherever you want to go. Closely followed by Teacher in the biblical tradition, following it, Move Over Jesus. His music, his theater, movement, writing, photography, shepherding this community forward through all its iterations, trials, steward and pillar, again, keeping this place up and running and directing its work. He's touched the lives of me and many in this community, the greater Burlington community, and far beyond. Leader by example, persistent participant in all our ways of worship, and for his Robert's Rules of Orders and his single ballot motions. Champion for equal rights and for all our brothers and sisters disenfranchised. Historian, archivist, his photography again, our directories, the writings, pulling together church histories, helping maintain our sense of community for an ongoing parade of participants and members. There's a few here that were here at the beginning, including Ken, and then there's just been innumerable folks that have moved through this community, touched by us and no doubt by Ken and his work. Sailor. One of the early things I did was sail with Ken when I first came. He was gracious and invited me on board. And for those of you who have taken the helm, you know what it's like to navigate variable winds, waves, currents, and crews. It's really a great preparation for almost anything, to have to deal with the weather the way a sailor does, and the way Ken has over the years. And then there's a few symbols when I look around the church, things that I would very much like to take with me, with us. I think one of the number one visuals is that rainbow spinnaker. It's got a special name, but again, the way that sweeps down from the cross, the colors, the rainbow, I mean, it's just jam-packed full of symbolism for me. Ken's music, the potpourri of intermittent whatevers. From his extensive library, which, is just remarkable how fresh and moving it is. Speaking of moving, Ken should be singled out for his efforts to try and get us Presbyterians to move and also to clap on the off beat.
Why do you have to bring up his failures?
Well, his successes. Again, the entertainment and the fun in session retreats, bringing along his remote-controlled planes and helicopters. Indoors, outdoors, dramatic aerial photographs of the group assembled, fantastic crashes.
Look at that.
So, Ken, it's been a pleasure and a gift to serve you the bread of life Sunday after Sunday, and I thank you for your being.
Possible without my better half.
I just want to say that as a sailor,
we've sailed through many blizzards, winds, and different winds and stuff, and the ability of this church to tack and whatever, jive and just go with where the wind sends us and use that as the way, I think is wonderful.
Oh, I wanted to talk about Ken. This is an exit thing. I wanted to talk about Ken's writing. And I don't remember exactly when the exit got started, but when it began, it was fully titled "The Exit of The Exit of Christ Church Presbyterian into Burlington, Vermont." And I think it really gave the movement of the church into Burlington, Vermont. And God said was occupied by you know who. I've known our beloved retired editor since 1959 when I arrived at CCP fresh from the Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. But my memories become clearer from around 1961 when Barb Emerson and I went on session for the first time. We were two of the three women who were ever on session from the beginning of Christ Church Presbyterian. And there was much self-congratulation in session that they were so liberal that they had women. Others pointed out that all three women were not connected with participating spouses. If you were a couple, it was the man who was invited to be on session. The rest were session meetings in Bill's small, crowded office were filled with cigar and pipe smoke. I think Barbara and I were the only two who didn't smoke cigars. Now, Ken has always had a penchant for debate, as we all well know. And in May of 1964, he and I had an exchange of papers on some of the topics under discussion in session at that time. I would bore you with the details, but only snippets, author snippets, as a sample of vintage Ken, our irrepressible, esteemed, venerable, and now sadly retired editor. It started out simply enough with Ken expressing in a paper to session his views on theology and different leanings within CCP about belief and mission. A 4-page document. What followed was an exchange between us on various aspects of church life at that time, involving topics like mission, tithing, membership, conservative versus liberal theology, etc. Briefly, he said, she said, format. Paper 4 pages. He said that we have a basic dichotomy of theological positions. In other words, we are divided between essentially two fundamental beliefs regarding the nature and purpose of the church. And our different positions on proposed plans and actions are simply reflection of the more basic issues, that is, belief versus mission, conservative versus liberal theology, 4-page paper. She said, the issue is not between belief and mission, but on the concept of what mission is and how it is accomplished. And she included comments regarding our intellectual image, attitudes towards members not fitting exactly our mold, etc. That paper was 5 pages long. Not missing a beat. And undaunted by the scope of her response, he says, as promised, here's my comments on your paper. If you don't mind, I'll go at it sort of paragraph by paragraph. I dearly love debate. So don't be dismayed by my style. I'm just naturally obnoxious. So he goes through her paper. Page 1, paragraph 1, page 1, paragraph 3, page 2, paragraph 1, page 2, paragraph 3, page 3, paragraph 1. And on to page 5, paragraph 3. You get the picture. Returning the ball to her court, he signs it in love. She answers in the page in paragraph format. However, this commentary is only 2 pages long. So in his response, the paragraph numbering is abandoned. There are 2 more he said, she said documents in this series, but you get the picture. The last epistle I have is from June 1964. There may have been more. I don't know. That's all I saved. Now, he may have retired, but I think Ken has to debate. He has to write. He has to be at newspapers, plays, letters to the editor. He will write. He will not be easily silenced. It's not his genes. Praise be to God.
We need some rules on how long. No fair to pull out things that old.
Okay.
So, a couple nights ago, I saw a short movie that focused on the military and some of the best aspects of the military. Honor, respect, determination, task completion. And as we're hearing, these are words that we could apply to Ken, even though it is about the military. And we've heard that because he represents these things and embodies these things, he's been given tasks of heavy lifting over the years. So I don't have anything more to say about his total commitment to being a music director, playing every Sunday he's in town. I'm not going to say anything about him moving back and forth between piano and organ, his choosing just the right prelude, postlude, offertory, the jazzy or mournful piece during communions. I'm not going to talk about it. They set the tone for a service that we all enjoy. But I do have a couple of personal stories that you wouldn't really know about. As I was preparing for one of my lay pastor's Sundays, I called him up to tell him the overall theme of the service and that for him to choose some music. He said, great, I got it, I'll do it. And I said, I'm going to be referring to singer Ella Fitzgerald and how she can be such an inspiration to a little church as ours. So find something, I said, for the postlude that just jumps right in. Just a strong voice, no soft instrumental music that builds. Okay, he said, I'll do my best. Well, find something he did. It took him a while, but it proved to be just right. And if you were there, after Joys and Concerns, after communion, after the closing prayer, Ella's song, and really Ken's song too, sent us all out of the sanctuary in a joyful celebration of what making the most out of life and all its changes is about. I thank you for that, and we all do. But Ken isn't always joyful himself. Years later, rather than scurrying out after church to go to the Ground Round or the Holiday Inn or wherever you... Applebee's now, okay. Wherever they go, he sought me out. And he said, David, you don't often disappoint me. But you did today. Don't often disappoint. I mean, sometimes I do. And boy, this one looks kind of doozy. So I kind of gulped and I said, well, Ken, what is it? He said, well, during Joys and Concerns, you commented on the music event that Valerie was in, but you didn't comment on the events that I facilitated. I believe I didn't know about that. I'm sorry. And
may have missed his dry sense of humor at that time. I did not miss his determination of his task completion. But it's strong. With more contact over the years, especially the last year and a half with worship planners, I do come to appreciate your humor, your occasional smile, your playfulness. And I look forward to the changes that we're all going to be doing together. Move, setting up shop in a new place. And the humor and the change and even, David, the disappointments that will bring. So Ken, I'm delighted to be joining my voice with others and everyone's presence today to honor you and all that you've given us. Thank you.
Raise their hands up there.
I have to say a few things here, including the fact that it's always interesting when Ken is around, because as late as Friday night when we were having dinner, he was perfectly adamant that he would not be here today. So Mother and I have been speculating, like, will he or won't he? You know, but then he called me back to say that he'd been instructed to be here. And he had several cogent objections to that, but he's here. Ken and I and Barbara have made many, many, many trips to Presbyterian. Sometimes starting at dark 30 as we called it. Ken with his GPS noting that, you know, we missed that exit by like 35 seconds. I know, and actually that was usually less than that, because 35 seconds would have been reason for a major upset there. But what, you know, stands out to me most on that one, the two of them and their absolute fight for gay and lesbian inclusion in the church. These folks were ferocious. I remember, I don't know which church it was, but there was Barbara at that point was clerk of Presbyterian. So she was sitting kind of down in front, and the pulpit was up behind. And they had annoyed me so much with their homophobia that was coming out that I actually had made my way to the pulpit, and I was getting ready to come out. And I thought, oh, they're going to kill me. And then I looked down and here's Barbara sitting there, and I said, well, no, they won't. They won't be able to get to me. So anyway, and, you know, these are the people who went to Augusta. God, we have lots of political troubles in Maine, never mind. Who went to Montpelier every day that the first the civil union, particularly the civil union bill, was being debated. But when the bishop got up to speak his opposition to the law, Barbara struck immediately by sitting in his chair. She wanted to talk to him, and she figured if she sat in his chair, he was toast. And he was. But incredible devotion. You know, Ken has done virtually all of the driving in this. There have been occasions when we sort of drove by committee in the blinding blizzard or whatever it was we were doing. But you cannot underestimate the service to the larger Presbyterian church that Ken has put in with his faithful sidekick, Barbara. So thank you, Ken.
You're mentioning the GPS. I just have to quickly tell this story I just remembered. I was on, I was a deacon, I guess, or on session, and I was hitching a ride with Ken, I think Barbara, to our retreat down in somewhere south of central Vermont. Ken had a new GPS. This was the beginning of GPS. And I'm like, well, this is where I live. This is central Vermont, so I can get them through Montpelier and Barrie. And we get to a turnoff, and I said, well, this is where we turn. And Ken said, no, the GPS knows. The GPS took us all along. We can't get to the retreat, but
I know everybody says everything about you, Ken, that they can say, but I do want to thank you for two things. For the music, because I've danced and clapped to it, and for taking our pictures. He's been the official photographer for the session, for the directory, and when I need some pictures taken, he says, every good pose that I can make in the church and here, so I want to thank you.
I want you to know that the reason that I had not planned to be here today is, well, to make it a long story short, I had to postpone my elective lobotomy. And if we don't get out of here pretty soon, I'm going to be late for the postponed appointment.
How many of those procedures have you had?
I want to know.
Okay, I'm going to call on Ian.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of our people who commended you for so many years. I learned something. I think it was each one of you took time and effort to paint a really wonderful picture of the service that you have provided to this community. I have to start with a story. We came up with the idea of the balloons, rainbow color, and there were 6 of them. And you will notice that there's only 5 up there. When I went to the store yesterday, they absolutely guaranteed me that these would last 24 hours. So I come down this morning, and here they are, all up by the door, so I don't forget them, except one has gone like this. And I went, oh no! And I went over and I looked at it. So the surviving ones are up there. But the one that went kaput, I tell you, the Spirit works in His church like I've never seen the Spirit. This one happens to be the one that went kaput. And what it says is, the exit etiquette.
Now. Okay, you get the puppet back up.
So, I have a few things in this bag. Somebody mentioned, I believe it was Audrey, that you will keep writing. So when you get your next big thought, we wanted you to have big paper and a big pen. And so that we can continue to hear your big thoughts. Now, while you're doing all that, we thought it was really important that since Ken is only retiring from the exit, that he have something to wear when he's writing those big thoughts. I mean, you can't just do it in a blue shirt.
Oh.
So, we have... the exit. I know the many, many hours that this takes, and appreciate the incredible effort that you make to take it, dress it up, expand it.
To say that I took my beginning sailors class from Ken Wolvington, and I qualified as rail bait.
Look.
And this might be a mixed bag for you, Ken, but this actually is a certificate of appreciation from the Presbyterian of Northern New England. For all his faithful years of service Actually, there's two gifts in here. I want you to open it. It's a very small thing. It's probably a card. It's a greeting card. But you never know. So, being the curious and investigative type, Ken is digging right in. Doesn't look like a duck. Not a rubber duck. If you want a rubber duck.
That's nice.
Very good.
Okay, he's figured out how to open it. It's upside down.
Oh. Ooh. I'll let you read it aloud.
Dear Ken, enjoy a wonderful New York dinner after or before the show. From all of us who have benefited from your leadership, this is a gift certificate to Gallagher Steakhouse.
Oh,
Wow.
There's
There's
more.
something else.
What?
There's
It
no.
says after or before the show.
The show?
The show.
Oh!
You like me to read
The Book of Mormon?
Yes. You can read that.
Oh, that is outstanding.
Don't lose this either. You redeem, simply set up a date and time of the performance that you can attend. You have 2 tickets, so find a companion to go with you. Let Lori Richland know and she will arrange for the tickets. Many thanks for your years of exceptional and dedicated service. And there's more.
There's your
There's the
ticket.
ticket.
Well, that is outstanding, because that is a show that I have not seen, that I have been dying to see.
Here's your chance.
It's better than all right. Well, thank you all very much. It's all greatly exaggerated. But the good side of it is, when I finally do kick the bucket, you won't have to have a memorial. Thank